Uh, Hello to everyone who joined us for the free webinar Surrogacy Rocks. And this is a 5 minutes check. If everybody can hear me or see me, and let the people join us. So I can see the number of the viewers joining us. And I think we began a little bit earlier for a few minutes, but we will wait as much as needed. All participants are welcome to join us during this 1.5 hour of talking about surrogacy, and everybody is welcome to ask questions regarding this topic. So let me check if I can see your questions. Mm-hmm. I'm checking to open the chat. Yes, so I can see the chat from my right side, and as soon as you have questions, you can put it in. And can we check if it's working and I can see it? Just write something into the chat. I cannot see anything in the chat, so I will probably use another computer to look at the chat. So sometimes there are some troubles, but it's okay. So while people are joining us, I would start with one topic that I was thinking about. So the name of our webinar is Surrogacy Rocks. Why I Surrogacy Rocks? Because I think that there is some not really good understanding of what is surrogacy in the world. And in some countries, especially where the surrogacy is banned, and the attitude to a surrogate mother is not really not really good, I would say, in some countries. So these women are considered to be probably poor enough to go for surrogacy, or unreasonably good to other people. So I think there is some misunderstanding and like a selling of your, like renting womb or selling your body. And from my point of view, it's a big problem in the topic of surrogacy in IVF, because a lot of our clients and intended parents in the world try to make this process as private as possible, because they feel the judgment from the society and from friends and relatives, because it is considered something bad to not bad, but not really acceptable, I would say, from the other people's side, from the other people's view, that you let another human to carry a child for you. This is some kind of unusual thing, because we have a traditional view of that the mother has to give the birth to the child, and in case it's not possible, you are considered some kind of not a complete woman, and not a complete human. So why I want to say that surrogacy rocks, because this is a magnificent way to show the connection between people, the help that people can give to each other, even in such serious things like give a birth to your own baby, in case it's a genetic relation to the woman or an egg donation. Uh, anyway, imagine we had no surrogacy, and what a woman would do, she would probably go for adoption. But this is another topic, adoption via surrogacy. Um, Not everybody is ready for adoption, I would say, and not everybody would make this step even if they would not have the surrogacy option. And it's not for everyone. Adoption probably is for some kind of people that are willing to do this for a child, and that people deserve, of course, deserve our good thoughts about this thing. Like, adoption is really good thing, but from my experience, it's not so easy to do, because a mother just is not feeling towards the baby some kind of connection and love, and especially from, I'm talking about people that share their experience. They said they're not ready for this. Even an egg donation would be better for them, and husband, because the woman is connected like a family with her husband, and understanding that this is a husband's genetic child is makes it easier to go into a connection with the baby. So surrogacy rocks because this is the an option, a way out of the nightmare for some couples, because the willing of a full family and to have a child, to have a human that you can give everything you have, experience, and all the funds that you have in your life, to pass it over. If there is no possibility to do so, it's really a nightmare life for some women. They're just obsessed. Some women are obsessed to have a child, and if their health is not enough to carry a child, or they have no eggs already, or their age is not good to carry a child, or to give a healthy healthy eggs for the baby, it's a way out, and a quick way out. Like, from my experience, you don't have to wait so many years as you wait for adoption, for example, from other country, and for the baby that you will not even know what the baby will be like, look like, or healthy baby or not healthy baby. Maybe you will be it's a normal understanding that parents want to have a healthy baby, and usually for adoption are given some sick babies. Of course, sick babies need a special care and special love, and some couples are going for this. But surrogacy allows to have a healthy child with no genetic abnormalities, and to do the PGD testing for this, and to go into a connection with a surrogate mother, to meet her, to like become a friend with this person for a long time, because usually our clients, they send pictures of their babies to some surrogates. Of course, not every couple goes into such a connection with the surrogate. Some, they just finish the communication after the birth of the baby. But really different from couple to couple, because people are different, and different surrogate mothers that are willing to connect with a couple. Some are more close to people that are more private. So it depends. Anyway, this connection, like a science and help and love between people, um, it's something special. So I'm fully against this bad attitude to surrogacy in some countries that claim that it cannot be paid for. But I don't think it must be some kind of payment. It's a gratitude, and it's a compensation for the time that a woman has given, like almost 1 year of her life, and her body worked a lot for pregnancy. So I think that a compensation is a normal thing, and more countries has to give a red light, a green light to surrogacy. Because if you would see a map of Europe and see what the countries are banned, almost all Europe is red. And even if United States is a mecca of surrogacy, so most states ban surrogacy. So there are two ways for US citizens to go to California or some just a few states that allow surrogacy, and it's extremely expensive, or go into Ukraine for surrogacy and have the child just maximum 2 years. 2 years, I say, probably if you need one more than one attempt, like 2 or 3 attempts, and from the moment you sign to the moment you get the baby, it's almost 1.5 year till 2 years. So sometimes even 10 months, because we're really quick. And not like other countries. For example, in UK, surrogacy is allowed, and some couples really stay for surrogacy in UK. But to find a surrogate, you have to take a lawyer. That is extremely expensive for surrogacy program. And if you do it by yourself, you have to understand the laws and how to do the contract in a proper way. So it's really, really difficult to do. And it takes a long time, about 5 years. So imagine for some couples, surrogacy is such a long journey, long process, that sometimes it's so stressful that other couples, when they find out how many years you struggled with surrogacy, they just say, no, it's not for me. I will just be childless or something. So many couples just think that it's not an option to live 5 years in such a stress. And imagine that if they don't investigate the international surrogacy, so in this case they would just miss the opportunity to have their own baby. So I advise you to think about the surrogacy in Ukraine as the best option, I would say, in the world. I don't know any other country that can do the surrogacy so good and so fast. Georgia is good, but Georgia does not allow PGD for many reasons. It has to be serious genetic abnormality. In Ukraine, we can do PGD for gender selection. Of course, we need some also indications, medical indications, but they are not so strict as in Georgia. So let me check. I don't see the questions in my chat, but I hope I will see questions in the computer. So maybe there are no questions yet. Maybe we're waiting for more people. But I think that we'll have to check just if it's working, because previous time previous time it didn't work, and in maybe 15 minutes we opened the chat and there were about 20 questions. The way to open the chat. So while we are trying to find the questions, I want to talk about one serious question. One serious question that I want to talk about is the way how you find the agency or a clinic or just a provider of surrogacy services in internet. Imagine a couple just had a talk yesterday that, okay, we're ready, we go for surrogacy, and what should we do? Like, where we start, where we go. So many questions arise, and imagine how helpless they are, and they start what do they start to do is it's googling and reading on forums, and asking maybe some people that have already had the surrogacy programs. But it's not something like to go to a vacation that you can ask your relative or friend, hey, where did you go to the seaside? So it's not such a thing that so many people do nowadays, I mean, among your friends or relatives. So to receive some advice from friends is not an option. So what you will do is to go to read the forums, the reviews, from what country you want to use, what is the law in your country, how you will bring out the baby. It's extremely complicated for a couple that had never had any IVF programs or surrogacy attempts. So if you are in the very beginning, it will be extremely difficult for you to recognize the right provider, because you will find a huge amount of agencies, a huge amount of clinics, and everybody says on their website that they're the best. And this is a really serious question, how to recognize a good place for surrogacy without weeks and weeks and days and nights in internet and on forums, when your head will be like this, and you will probably say, I don't know where to go, or just go anywhere, I will see if it's a luck or not. So what to do in this case is to find out what is the less who has the last reviews on the website, on the internet. This is not a joke, I tell you. Look who has the less good reviews. Like, if you see a clinic that has enormous reviews of couples that it was great, I don't know, this place is a heaven, and everybody's so helpful, like, if you can read in every page about this clinic, on every forum, everywhere, I would say right away that this clinic or this agency has a special department of people and managers sitting and writing the fake reviews, good reviews about their place. And it's even not a one day thing. They are working a full time, day after day, writing a good reviews and writing a bad reviews about other clinics. So imagine if the one clinic is really good, but they're not doing this thing like faking reviews. Uh, you will probably will not find out about this clinic or about this agency, because you will think, are so few reviews of this place, and I don't think it's a good place, probably not so famous, not so good success rate, or something small and not serious. But actually some clinics does not do this. They don't faking the reviews. They don't putting people into forums like fake intended parents with their own story, really difficult story of IVF. Like they think it over. They think about the history of this actor couple that will write on every forum that it was so great. We have twins from the first try, and the surrogate mother is a wonderful person, and we had the answer in 5 minutes after we mailed this company. So if you read such reviews, most likely, and 99%, it's a fake review, and you have to understand that this is this IVF and surrogacy is a really financial thing for a lot of agencies, and they will put a lot of advertisement into reviews, advertisement costs and humans to put into reviews, because they understand that couples going into forum and reading about the places where to go. So you will say, okay, how can I define that the place is good? How would I understand that they will write me fast, will coordinate me good, and the program will be fast? What personally I would do, I would probably select those places that are really good on Google, not the advertisement paid lines, but the best on the first page, on the second page, even on the third page. I would see how this website work. If the website work, it's probably the good place. If there are a lot of information, if there are good blogs, if there are articles, if they're showing their faces, if you can see the doctors, if you can phone and they will answer, if you mail and they answer in 24 hours. So you can define from your first step how good is the communication. Usually, if the communication is quick and good, so all the program will be quick and good. Reviews are not really informative, by the way. They are not informative at all, because some places can be really great, and usually people write reviews from their, like, real people write reviews on internet when they are not satisfied. If they are not satisfied, they will go and from their anger write something bad about you. But if people are satisfied, they come home and they just living their life and everything is good. They will not write anything. Very few people, if they're just surprised about the service and are overwhelmed with the service, and if you will just slightly ask them, if you would be so kind, maybe you can write something good on Facebook about us, so that other clients, intended parents, would read this and come and have a good experience. So maybe they will write, maybe not. So imagine how few reviews there will be, like a real good reviews about the place and about the clinic. What we plan to do, because we are like a little bit closed and club-like center, and a really like private oriented, so we give a lot of attention to one couple. We don't have crowds in our office, just one couple for a few days. like all the team is concentrated on one couple. And what we plan to do is to make a video reviews in future, because we had a really private policy not showing any faces, any children, just maybe a few children, but from 100% agreement with the parents. Can we plug in the computer, because it will be off soon? So we plan to do a video reviews of real people without blanking the face or hiding the personality. So real Irish people, real UK and USA people will share their experience, and in this case you will probably 100% be sure that it's not an actor or something, so they will tell their story, and you will see it's an obvious true review, because when somebody is writing in internet, you can never check if it's a true person or it's a hired person just for an advertisement. So the second, what I would say, that how to choose the right place for your program. Just try to figure out who is in a good who feels well for you, or if you have a connection with the coordinator or manager, if he's answering quickly and maybe really good on your questions, like opens your question really in a good way, that you understand everything is clear for you and looks easy. In this case, try to visit this place, like visit and see yourself, see the doctors, see the managers. Usually our clients, when they come, before they come, they say that they feel like they're coming to a friend already. So they feel a connection with our managers, with if it's me with a couple, so with me. So we have more managers now, and if they feel that they want to come, they come, and they say we're more than satisfied, and every couple is usually a little bit afraid, not 100% trust from the beginning, but in few days, from the first or second day of being here, they can observe what care we give, how quickly we react, how we answer the questions, how the doctor is talking with them, because some doctors are like writing and not looking at your face, at your eyes, and our doctor is really really precise and detailed, and he would talk for 1 hour with you until he understands the case. And he would take really complicated cases, but in case he thinks that it's not possible for example, with the stimulation is dangerous, so he will tell that in this case I will not recommend. There are big risks. So because some clinics are taking everybody, taking, and on the final stage they say, no, in your case we can do only egg donation, or we cannot do anything here, and no refunds, and so on. So in our case, you're always informed 100% about the process. You know everything. You're prepared for any cases that can arise even before you arrive. So try to figure out how do you feel towards this place. If you arrive to a clinic and you see a lot of lines of couples standing or are not cared about, waiting something, if you wait too long and you feel that you're not a center of attention, and you're like abandoned or something. So in this case, be sure, 100% sure that all your program will go like this. So you will pay money, and for your money, like ask for services. You paid, but you will always ask the manager what is going on, well, when will I receive the information, and you will wait for a few weeks for this information. So from my experience, because some couples come to us from a bad experience from other agencies in Ukraine and clinics. So they can compare and they say it's earth and sky, like two different things. I'm not. I'm telling maybe too much good about our company, but I'm just trying to give you a view how to find a good place. And I, of course, think that our place is a good place, our center. So how to understand in the internet where to go. The closer the company is to you, I mean, the more available, more client oriented. What does it mean, client oriented? Not just to receive your money and receive a client. Just client oriented is to fulfill your requirements, your needs. If you need a quick answer, they give you a quick answer. If you need a proper documental preparation or full information about the cost, so you will receive it really easily, like this. You will not even ask for more. You will receive even more that you want. Don't think that in Ukraine it's everywhere like this, so that you wait and just pay money and receive nothing, because now there is a lot of agencies, new agencies claiming they are old agencies, and a lot of small clinics that don't have so good specialists. Also a question: don't look for a clinic. Look for a doctor, because one doctor, I always say this, can work in different clinics. Doctor is not connected to one clinic. Doctor is an individual specialist that can work everywhere he wants. Okay, now I see we have some questions. How many time does it usually pass from the moment the couple has come till the pregnancy will be achieved? It's depending on what do you have. If you have an egg donation and you are not for gender selection or PGD, so in this case it's really fast. You just choose a donor even before your arrival. We can book this donor for you, and as soon as the donor is from the menstruation cycle is okay to start the stimulation, it started right away, and the surrogate mother is of course chosen also really quick, before your arrival can be, or after your arrival. So usually it's 1 month and a half. In contract we put 3.5 for any case, because sometimes couples are not sure about the donor. They can change the donor. Sometimes donor gets sick. They're humans, not robots. Also, the surrogate mother can get sick, or the endometrium will not grow as it's necessary. We had cases, and we usually try to change surrogate mother if there is endometrium 5. We don't want to do such a transfer. It's zero transfer. If the surrogate has some problems with the thyroid or something that just came out during the preparation cycle, so we can change the surrogate. Of course, there is an extra time for this. That's why we put into the contract 3.5 months from the moment you pay, from the moment you sign the contract. And of course, if you do the PGD takes 1 or 2 weeks. In this case, yes, they will be a little bit longer. In case a woman wants to be stimulated for her own eggs, it's depending on her menstruation cycle. If she is approved for stimulation by our doctor, she can start the stimulation right away if she's in the beginning of her cycle for the short protocol, or if she's in the end of her cycle, she can start the depot, the difilurine injection, and start the stimulation from the next cycle. Then the surrogate mother is ready. They go into synchronization, and it's about 1 month and a half. If a short protocol, the embryos are frozen, like firstly fertilized, then cultivated, and then frozen, and they wait for a surrogate mother to be ready. Or if it's a fresh protocol without any freezing, so they are just synchronized, but it's more difficult to do. So the next question is, what do you think about the fertility agencies in India? India has closed now the surrogacy for countries where surrogacy is not allowed. So it's not possible to register a baby from a country where it's not allowed. And I would personally not recommend India for surrogacy at all, even for countries where it's allowed. Because the conditions of surrogate mothers are really, really extremely bad. They're sleeping on the floors and eating not well. So your baby will be developing most likely not a healthy baby. And the medicine in India, imagine the level of medicine in India. Yes, they do the medication from like Indian medication. They're imported, yes, into other countries. They are of a good quality, but the level of treatment in India is not good. This is a really poor country, and cannot be compared to Ukraine. Ukraine is magnificent in IVF and in egg donation and surrogacy, and the success rate is really high. By the way, always I would better say with our doctor, because we don't give it the success rate, we just give the assistance, but the doctor is responsible for the success rate, and he says that he can do the 60% for the first try with surrogate mother. If you use PGD, we add 10%, so it's 70%. Imagine we give 70% for one try, for the first try on surrogacy. And in case you take the 3 attempts for the standard program, 3 transfers, you can calculate how many is the success rate. It's over 100%. So of course it depends, it's on your own eggs or not. Sometimes we need to change the surrogate mother if she's giving like not positive result in 3 times. So we usually change the surrogate mother. But in our case, we have really healthy surrogate mothers without any diseases that can be obvious. Like when they are going through a checkup, they have no serious, no chronic, no bacteria, nothing that can doctors would say that of course we have this disease, but we will take this woman. No, it's not like this. As soon as we have really small thing with the surrogate mother that can, and during the pregnancy every disease can develop more, so we have we select the best surrogate that can carry the child till term, not just get pregnant, but carry a child till term and give a healthy live birth. So everything is taking into consideration, also her previous birth, if he has given a healthy birth to her own child, how the labor took place, was it difficult or not, everything is taken into consideration. So the question is, like, if what do you think about the agencies in India? I would totally not recommend India. Not because I want you to come to Ukraine. For example, I can recommend you Georgia. Not bad. It's really not bad, and you can look for the prices there. But Georgia is taking our egg donors, for example, because people that are going to Georgia, they most likely they would ask for a European, I mean the Ukrainian, Russian egg donors. So, and I know that Georgia is cooperating with Ukraine and Russia for the egg donors. So it's reasonably to come right away to Ukraine for an egg donation and surrogacy. The next question is, the Kiev is the capital of Ukraine. Does it mean that the clinics are better there? Why do you recommend Odessa? I also recommend Kiev, but for those who is ready to wait a long time. Kiev is not bad for surrogacy, of course. It's obvious that there are more clinics, and of course there are more clients going there. But the quality is not better than in Odessa. So if you compare Odessa and Kiev, for the surrogacy programs, first is the time. Faster is in Odessa because not so many clients for now. Maybe will be more, but we can cope anyway. And it's probably best ecology, best air, not best, but better than in Kiev. It's a seaside city, it's a port city, and I want to say that I see more foreigners in Odessa coming here than in Kiev. Odessa is a big city, is a really big city. I usually would like to compare Odessa with Barcelona in Spain and Madrid with Kiev. So they're familiar, like Madrid is the capital and Kiev is the capital, the serious cities, big cities, and polluted cities. And those cities that are at seaside, they're obviously with more fresh air and more south. And if you are more south, so the better is fertility. This is a fact, that the vitamin D, you receive more vitamin D, and you have the possibility to go to the seaside and to take sun baths and to be like more healthier actually. As for me, I feel here in Odessa when I work and I stay longer time here, I feel myself better here from feeling good in the morning and no headaches, better immune system. I feel that it's better for me. So the surrogate mothers are usually around Odessa or from Odessa. They always have a possibility to have a stroll and walk along the seaside and to have a sun baths. And it was lately proven by scientific that vitamin D improves the IVF results up to 45%. So in what way? It helps the implantation. So the vitamin D, if there is like a lack of vitamin D, so implantation can fail in most cases. It was a scientific experiment research. So maybe because also of this, we have better results than in Kiev, because I would say that I worked with Kiev, and we needed about two, not two, maybe three, four, five tries to receive the success. And I thought it's probably really good, but when I started to work with Odessa, I was surprised that one by one we had success from the first try, and with twins. So now we mostly recommend to transfer one embryo after PGD, because we have a lot of twins after, like, so good embryos, so good egg donors, and so good surrogate mothers, that the implantation happens to all the two embryos that are transferred. So the results really impressed me, and months by months, I started to work with Odessa more, because obviously I am interested in a fast result for my clients, and it makes a better reputation and higher success rate for us, and less questions from our clients, like when we will have the positive result. Uh, of course, not for every client we have positive result from the first try, but usually it's from the second, because we can change the protocol, add some medication to a surrogate mother to give her additional special medication, or maybe give her special vitamins, something we can change, something that can affect on the result. And IVF is not predictable 100%, so sometimes it works, sometimes it just, sometimes I think that the baby just decides to come or not to come in this period. So we do all the technical part perfectly, like we prepare everything 100%, and we do 99% what is required for the surrogacy program for success, and this 1% is for nature to decide. Nature decides what happens inside the uterus with the embryos, and the genes decide, and some maybe powers who doesn't believe into powers let them believe into science. So there are obvious some things that we cannot affect, but I suppose that that anyway, IVF is a huge thing that a human could do with the science to make a new life. How the next question is, how can we be sure that the donor we have chosen will be used? Really popular question, one of the top questions from our clients. No, you cannot. Like, from practical point of view, you cannot follow your embryos. Like, you cannot go into a lab and sit right behind the embryologist and ask, is this my embryo? Is this my egg donor eggs? Like, you cannot track. All you can do is to trust and look into my eyes and try to figure out if I'm lying or not. I'm trying to joke, because in Ukraine it's anonymous, and we have no right to show you the person, like a surrogate, for example. We can show the surrogate, but the egg donor that will be genetic donor to your child actually has the right for your child if the donor knows you. If he knows that this is her child and he goes into contact with you, she can apply through a court for this baby and take this baby away. I don't think you want this, but of course I understand that you want to be sure that you have chosen a donor, and this is the same person. We we cannot open the identity. It means we cannot say her surname, her datas, her passports, or her place of work or living, anything that can help you to connect with her, and to ask her, are you my donor or not? But they don't know for whom they are donating. So believe me, it's a better thing for you not to go into contact with this donor. Uh, but I'm sorry, but you can obviously just trust us. What I want to say is that I was working in a fertility clinic. Maybe somebody knows already. Maybe it's new information for some clients. I was head of a department for 5 years in one of the most famous fertility clinic now in Kiev. But I would say this question about egg donation and egg donors was one of the reasons I left this clinic. And if you are smart enough, you will understand what I'm talking about. So, in our case, we have a really high moral level, to not to lie to you, and to sleep well, and not having a bad karma. This is what I can say about this question. How can you track? Basically, you cannot track. You just write an application for an egg donor in a fertility clinic, and give us the requirements of your height, your color of your eyes, your hair, real hair color, so the shape of the body, and we will present you some egg donors that can can be approved by you and your family. It can be in written form, like a description of an egg donor. Okay, next question is, if one from the couple has the genetic disease, how can we save the future child from this? Are there any options or tests we can do for the possible donors and for the embryo? Of course, it's a PGD testing, but you cannot be sure that there will be no genetic disease at all, because PGD is not test. It's not a test for all genetic diseases. You have to understand that it's only tested for right number of chromosomes, and that every chromosome looks good. So an embryologist or the specialist for the chromosomes, like the genetic specialist, he can say that the number and the forms of chromosomes are correct. But in case you know your genetic disease, we can try to connect the lab and to find out if it's possible to test only for this disease, um, for every embryo, to test for this special disease. It's possible, but not for all genetic diseases. We always recommend to do PGD testing because it improves success rate. In what way? It helps the implantation, because the healthy embryo will implant most likely. It can be also a not healthy embryo implanted, but it will most likely not go into development. It will stop. The heartbeat would stop, or it will be like an empty sac, like with no embryo. So why should you transfer not good embryo if you can do the PGD testing and you can transfer only healthy embryos with a more success rate potential? It costs additionally, of course, but it is worth it because in the result you will probably pay more for a new cycle and new embryos to create than you will just pay for the PGD. It's about from 1,500 for 5 chromosomes and 2,600, I suppose. I don't remember because the prices will change a little bit, not because of us, but because of the lab. So it can be about 2,005 or 600 for a procedure. So I would really recommend to do this PGD or PGS. Uh, the lab in Ukraine is really good, and we sometimes also send it abroad to a European lab. To a European lab, and yes, there is a question that do you recommend PGD? I recommend it. There is the next question. Can a couple choose surrogate mother? Is there any magazine of them? Yes. Magazine of surrogate mothers. It would be really interesting. Yeah, I understand what you're asking. If there is some advertisement special place where you can go and find a surrogate mother. You can find a surrogate mother trusting us because we do the search. We have a special person that is that goes into contact with potential surrogate mothers that want to be a person to carry a child, and let it be a secret where we find a surrogate mother. So it's obviously some advertisement things that we do to find a good candidate, and where to find them. I don't think a couple wants to know where we find a surrogate mother, because it's important that we did, and we did a good and we found a good person, and obviously we have better ways to find one than other agencies, because the surrogate mother, the right surrogate mother, a good one, is like gold that you are digging, like gold diggers. So to find a good person to be a surrogate mother is a big deal, and I would say it's 70% of the success of the program, somewhere about 70, maybe more. So if the surrogate mother is not healthy or not responsible or something, like a bad person or making problems or something, so most likely the program will be out of control. So yeah, there are some places that we know and that help us to find not only a surrogate mother but experienced surrogate mothers that have already participated into a program. There are more questions. How long does it take to do PGD? Usually it's 2 weeks, but sometimes with the sending and receiving results, maybe 2.5 till 3 weeks. It's a normal time to do the PGD testing. The next question is, how long does it take the whole process from the moment we sign the contract to delivery of our child? Let me count from the moment you sign. So if it's 9 months to carry a child and till the procedure from your first visit, it's about, let us say, 3 months, but 3 months is a lot, maybe from 2 till 3. You remember I said it depends on the PGD or not PGD. So let us take the middle, like the 2 months. So 9, 10, 11, and probably will also wait for the documents 1 month. I'm taking the maximum, and it's 1 year. 1 year, and you will become a parent. This is in case you are successful from the first try, and this is what we are looking for as well. If not, you can add to this period, like if it's a second try, you can add to this period 1 month, 1 month and a half, 2 months. So the faster you are successful, the faster is the program. This is obvious. But 1 year is enough to become parents with us. So, what is the time? Yes, I see that we have almost talked for 1 hour, and let me think of what questions I wanted to open, because sometimes I'm thinking of some things during the process, and I'm thinking of the topics that I want to deliver during the webinar, or maybe a special videos. So right now I don't think I have any more topics for myself. I have a lot, but I would like to open them into our next special videos that we will film, not in live, but by the way, stay tuned. We have a surrogate mother interview coming soon. It's already recorded, and there is a real surrogate mother, a pregnant surrogate mother, and we're talking. Just met at the coffee to talk a little bit, and it came out to an idea to shoot at this. Like we just wanted to meet each other, to talk about documents or something, to prepare for the final final visit of the parents, documentation process. Usually I do this a little bit later, but it was just convenient because I was in Odessa, the surrogate mother was close, and we just met, and we had the video with us, and we just sit down and just shoot the talk. So it was you will see that we're talking really like in not an interview manner, but like in a friend manner. So I'm checking if we have more questions here. Yes, we have. From what countries you can take the couples? From countries that we are sure that we will bring out the baby. From Ukraine to this country, or to one of the countries where the because there are mixed couples. Some couples are from one country with one citizenship, and other couples are with different citizenship. So at least one of the parents has to be eligible for the process for the passport of the baby. Because every country is so individual, so different for surrogacy process, that we cannot make one time for the embassy. Like we cannot say that you will stay 3 months for everybody, or you will stay 2 weeks for everybody. So every country is really different. For one country you stay 2 days and you have the passport to go. For 1, 2 weeks, for another 1 month, and for some difficult countries it can take 2 months or even a little bit more if you have some difficulties with documentation that is not our fault, but just the processing time of the embassy. So from the countries where it's allowed, of course, but it's not just few, and from countries where it's not allowed, but only on their territory. And usually the couples are confused about this because they say it's banned in our country, but if you go abroad, it's not banned. It's even, you can go to embassy and say, I had a surrogacy program. Here is my documents are fine, and they just pass you citizenship for the baby. Because different laws are working for in different countries. In some countries, if even if the surrogacy is banned, but it's banned on territory, but in case there is genetic relation to a citizen of this country, he can pass the citizenship to the baby. So there are so many peculiarities for every country that without specialist, I would not advise you to go for surrogacy. If you think that you can handle yourself without any lawyer, without assistant, without a person in this country that will help you, you will probably make it, but in like stay with a baby and live in Ukraine for several years. If especially if it's a difficult country to do. Uh, More questions, maybe. Mm-hmm. If we decide to come, which information about couple do you need before our visit to start the work? Um, so basically, what I ask for is, are you officially married? We need a marriage certificate for Ukrainian surrogacy to be eligible for surrogacy. This is the first what I ask, because if not married, get married, because without this you will not be able to even register the baby. We will not take you, and the clinic will not take you without a marriage certificate. Of course, I try to find out right away what is the citizenship, if we're able to do this country. I would not say what countries we do right now in the life. It will be a long list, and for every country, I would have to say some words, but it will be a really long process. So better you apply through email or phone or WhatsApp, Viber, Skype, whatever. And I will tell you exactly by your country what we're doing. What information? Marriage certificate, citizenship of both parents. Maybe you have more citizenship than one. Then the indication for surrogacy, the medical certificate, not certificate, but like a letter from a doctor, like a conclusion about your diagnosis, why you cannot carry a child, in case if it's surrogacy. In case it's an egg donation, just egg donation without surrogacy, that is also what we do. If a woman wants to carry a child by herself, it's just a letter from a doctor that she's healthy enough. But for surrogacy, you have to prove that you're not healthy enough to carry a baby. Or, for example, you have no uterus, or there is a special list that I am sending to a couple that is taken from the law and is a clear indication for surrogacy, and you can be eligible for surrogacy in Ukraine. So marriage certificate, citizenship, medical indication for surrogacy, your passports, of course, to check your names and marriage certificate. If they are good for our civil department to receive the birth certificate for the baby and have no complications later. What else? In case it's a stimulation, like if a woman wants to use her own eggs, it's more difficult process. We require more medical tests, and the better has to be sent before your arrival, so the doctor will give you some estimated percentage, something like to approve you for stimulation or not. In case you don't want to send or you are not able to do the medical tests in your own country, you can do this test in Ukraine. But in this case, we don't give you 100% that you will be approved, or even 90% that you will be approved by our doctor. It will be like this: that you arrive, you're examined, and in case you're not eligible, like from medical point of view, for the stimulation, you have to be ready for egg donation, or you have to be ready to not sign the contract if you are fully against egg donation, and to look elsewhere, other specialists. But usually, if our specialists deny stimulation, other specialists will not take as well, because our doctor, he looks through really carefully and evaluates the risks. In case you want to have a stimulation, you also will need a document from a doctor that he allows you to be stimulated with this medication, special medication for IVF, without any serious risk for your health. And yeah, that's it. He has to take this responsibility to put a signature that you are allowed to be stimulated. And in some cases, we will require also such a document from our Ukrainian doctor, physician, yes, that will evaluate your health. In case you have any medical tests that are valid, or maybe a little bit old but not so old, not more than 1 year, so you can send all the tests like HIV, syphilis, hepatitis, some swabs, and blood group, everything what you have from your previous attempts. Or if you're new and have no tests at all, so you can go and do the tests. But in any case, when you arrive, you will have to repeat the tests here. It's included into the price of the package, but we repeat because in some cases the results of the tests did not match with our tests. So, and of course, the requirements of our clinic is that the test has to be done in their place, because they are responsible for this program, and they want to understand that the tests are that they are not faked. Some clients really do this. I'm sorry, but some clients hide some hepatitis or HIV, and when they understand that we retest them, they just say that, yeah, okay, we are positive or something. So we have to retest. We have to be sure that the tests are done here and they're correct. But that we can take clients with hepatitis. That is what you have to know. And there are not much places that do this in Ukraine, but we take this is fully like professional, done professionally, and the hepatitis will not go to the surrogate or to the baby or anything else. So it will be a healthy baby and healthy program. So there are more questions. Sorry. Do you work with embryo donation? Yes, but right now we do it more like a fresh cycle, not an embryo donation from other couples, but a fresh cycle. You can choose a donor and egg donor, and you can choose a sperm donor. It is a fresh cycle of your own chosen donors, not donors or couples that just left the embryo. It's actually not so popular to leave embryos for other couples in Ukraine. Usually it's a fresh cycle. But in some Kyiv clinics, we have embryos that are waiting for embryo donation. And Yes, we do this, but we have not so much requests about embryo donation as we have for surrogacy. So we work more with surrogacy. Um, how many years do you work with surrogacy? Count from 2012. Okay. If we decide to take part in program, should we take care about accommodation by ourselves? Uh, no. Uh, of course, if you want to, you can. But we give accommodation a really good level of accommodation. We send the link. You can always look where you will be accommodated in Odessa, or if you want to make the first visit in Kiev, you can arrive in Kiev. By the way, in case you are interested to arrive only to Kiev because your flight is better to arrive to Kiev, you don't want to change a lot of flights, you can arrive to Kiev and we can do the first visit there. We can sign a contract there, and even you don't have to arrive to Odessa and do all the process in Kiev. But I would say that all our clients that arrive to Kiev, they heard about what we talk about Odessa, and they uh, visited Odessa for a few days, like for 2 days. They flew and came back, and they said to us, "Why didn't you tell us enough about Odessa? Because we would arrive right away to Odessa." Like they love the city much better than in Kiev. So I would recommend to change a flight and to make the first visit to Odessa anyway. Uh, Accommodation we give, and it's included into your package. Uh, for your first visit, for your middle visits, maybe for ultrasound, or if you want to come for the fresh fertilization, but it's not so popular now. Usually we freeze the samples at the first visit and use it for the fertilization procedure later. It works really good for couples that are really far from Ukraine. It's Australia, USA, um, maybe Spain, like really far countries that you have to travel a lot for long distances. Uh, yes, in case you want to have your own accommodation, we can give you some discount. And in the end, by the way, I didn't tell about the end. In the final process, you have 1 month included. As soon as you arrive, 1 month starts, and the accommodation is given for 1 month. This is our usual time to do the process after the birth of the baby. But in case you need a little bit longer, you pay not much extra, like a little bit, and like extra 1 month can be 400 euro probably, or 300. It's not much per month for European countries. For Ukrainians, it's a lot, but for European and other countries, it's not a big amount. But it's special cases. You will probably not stay for such a long time. Our priority is to bring you out of Ukraine with legal documents as fast as possible. We have more questions here. Can we choose the color of eyes of the egg donor and her height? Of course you can choose, but if your husband is high enough, so it will be not like it will not work so well. So if you are low and your husband is high, so you can choose something in the middle, or you can choose the person that will look like exactly like you. But of course you can choose a donor that will match your requirements as close as possible. But don't take long with the selecting of the donor, because we have couples that doesn't want this donor, doesn't want this donor, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower, but believe me, it doesn't work like this. So the genes will mix and you will not know what will be in the result. Maybe your baby will be fully your husband like look like, or the genes will mix. So what I want to say, don't be so precise to such centimeters thing. So better to see that the looks, the statue, like the shape of the body, the eye color, the hair, and maybe the skin color, that what can be mostly inherited. Okay, yes, you can choose. You give your requirements and we choose an egg donor for you. And you approve the egg donor. You're always approving a surrogate mother and an egg donor. Can we meet donor and surrogate mother during our visit? As I have already mentioned before, that about the egg donor, I talked a lot. So you just scroll back afterwards and hear about the donors. But about the surrogate mother, yes, you can meet her even on the first visit if you get lucky, and we will find a surrogate mother especially for your country, because some countries require unmarried surrogate mothers, and it's rather not difficult, but it's an extra work to find a unmarried surrogate mother. And we had already a lot of meetings with surrogate on the first visit, because before we didn't do this. Now we do, and it works really well. It's really emotional, and the connection forms even before the procedure. And maybe it has some good impact on the implantation, maybe, I don't know, but we will see. We will make a statistics for ourselves if a surrogate mother meets a couple, if it's more successful or less successful. So some kind of experiment. But yes, it's possible to, especially if we are emailing for a long time, because from one email till arrival, for the first email till the arrival can be 1 year. Maximum was 1.5 years, and the minimum was 2 weeks. So in this period, we can be in a contact, and the longest we're in a contact, so we can already prepare a surrogate mother for your first arrival. If you're arriving so fast, like in 2 weeks, and you're here, so of course we're not able to find a surrogate so quickly. But in the high season, for example, right now we have a lot of surrogate mothers, and if couple arrives, they have surrogate mother right away, practically. What about the private policy in your company? Can I be sure that my personal information will be safe? I don't want anyone to know that I'm doing surrogacy. Yes, this is our first priority, that we save your personality. We will not surprisingly put our common picture on Facebook or something like this, and and mark you in Facebook that will appear on your Facebook page that you're in surrogacy center or something. No, we do not do this, and any kind of opening personality are seriously discussed before. And usually we like to stay private, because this is a family thing. This is a really private thing, a painful thing sometimes, that you don't want to open for other people. But there are some couples, like really brave couples, that are ready to go for shooting, like to make an interview, and to even share experience with other couples. We have such couples, and in nearest future we are planning to record an interview and conversation and sharing experience. Okay, next questions. We know that there is a war in Ukraine and in the east. Is it safe to come to Ukraine, especially to Odessa, and take part in the program? Um, there is no there is a war. We don't like to say it's a war because it's more like a local conflict, yes, but it's really far from us. It's really far from Odessa. I think about more than 500 kilometers, maybe 800 kilometers. So it's really far. And now I suppose it's less and less, and it's soon to be. I hope it's soon to be over. But if you will arrive to Odessa now, the beaches are full. So many people that you cannot find a place to go into a seaside, and so many tourists, as well as in Kiev. I would say in Odessa is even safer than in Kiev, because in Kiev there are, government places and yes, government places where can the strikes take place or something. But if we look on the Europe, yes, cities. Every day we can hear something about the terrorist attack or some extreme weather, something like it is more dangerous in Europe probably than in Ukraine right now. I mean, in our region, not in eastern part. So I would not say that it's dangerous to come. No, I'm safe here, and I feel free to come out. Of course, you have to look for for your things, because there are so many thieves. The same as in you will come out in Madrid or Barcelona. I think it's even more thieves in Barcelona that you have to hold your bag. It's everywhere what you have to do. Maybe in some island there are no people, so you can feel safe. But here, in any place, you have to be careful. Yes. So just today, our previous couple departed, signed the contract and departed to one of the European countries, really close here, 2 hours flight. So they didn't feel bad at all. They just walked around and enjoyed Odessa, liked Odessa, and no, it's okay. You can come. One more question about surrogate mothers. Can I choose her by myself? Uh, we have such an approach that is better for you and for us and for everybody. The doctor is choosing the surrogate mother. Like, we have a person that has the surrogate mothers in a conversation and in a preparation. But anyway, the surrogate mothers come to our doctor. He checks them, and then the surrogates are selected by their marriage status, by their health, by their matching with the donor, by a lot of criteria. So you will not be able to choose a good surrogate mother for yourself by yourself. All you have to do is to look what candidate we have chosen for you and say your word, like approve her or not. In case you're not approving her, it's okay. We will talk about this with you in case you're fully against her for some reason. But it didn't happen, because I cannot think of a reason right now. Her appearance or something can be bad, maybe attitude, talking, I don't know. How can you understand that this is a not correct person for you? But in most cases, or our surrogate look good, they have a good attitude, they have a contact with a couple. We do a Skype interview, we can meet in person. So We never had such cases when a couple said we don't like this girl, because she goes through so many barriers, I think, through our person that evaluates her, through a doctor, through a psychologist, through medical tests. So as soon as she arrives to be a candidate already tested and approved, it's most likely a normal person, good looking, healthy, and ready psychologically to be a surrogate mother. Can your agency control what surrogate mother is eating, what she, or wherever she's smoking or taking alcohol? Yes, we have a special person that tracks the surrogate mothers. Of course, not going to the apartment and looking what they're doing 24 hours a day, but usually we trust surrogates because we had a long preparation of a surrogate conversation. Like you can tell already about the person what she's capable to do. Is she smoking or not, or taking alcohol? You can see obviously from her appearance if she's taking alcohol often. But anyway, trust but check. Yes, we check. We have a blind test for alcohol and smoking and drugs, but drugs are not so popular among women in our countries. So usually this is the women family women with children, and you have to understand that a surrogate mother is not interested to harm herself and the baby and the program, not to receive money in the end, not to receive the compensation. Because why they do this? Usually to make a renovation at home, they use this money for their own children, to buy an apartment for normal needs. And this normal needs can have only a normal person. They don't take it for drugs. And we can obviously understand what person is coming for to buy drugs, and imagine how she would look like, and we will not take her to a program. Or she's a normal person going to a program for normal reasons. Yes, we test, but usually they're negative. Everything is fine. How many time our embryos that are left could be stored if I want to come back in 5 years, for example? When you arrive for the first visit, you pay right away for the freezing of your biological material for 1 year. And it's 1 year that it can be stored, and during this year you can use this material. If after 1 year you still have some material that you want to store, you pay extra for every year. I suppose it's about, I don't remember well, but I think 270 or something, somewhere with 300, something like this, maybe a little bit less, for 1 year for storage of the material. So you pay again for 1 year. So if you want to come back in 5 years, you just pay every year for a year, and we can have this embryo stored for 5 years. And this is not a long period for embryos with good freezing. From our experience, what is the main motivation for surrogate mother? From your experience, yes, sorry. Motivation is to buy an apartment, to make something good for their own family, for their own children. We had cases when a surrogate mother, like a woman that wants to be a surrogate mother, gave birth to a baby, And as soon as she received money, she ran to a hospital to save her own baby because this baby needed a special operation. Yes, to save their own baby's life. For example, if it's a serious disease, needs an operation on heart, on brain, and yes, people usually they think about surrogacy to have a quick amount of money in a short time, because the compensation that they receive in Ukraine is enough to solve some problems that they have in their life. It can be some, of course, problems with the accommodation, with the house. The family wants to have their own accommodation, not renting every month, and or to make the house a little bit bigger or buy some land uh, for farming, for example, different reasons. But the reasons are always normal, not just to spend money and have a good life, just go to vacation or something. No, there's serious reasons. And of course, they're really special people with a special psychology that can understand that this is not their own baby and not genetic baby, and that they're doing it for other people. And of course, such women, they have something special in their personality, willing to help, actually, because they can do anything else maybe, but they understand that they can carry a child for other couple, and they can cope it, and they can live with it, and be okay with it. So this is some special people. Does surrogate mother during her needed medicines? Sorry, one moment. Does surrogate mother buying her needed medication from herself? Does anybody control this point? No, the surrogate mother is provided with medication, and she receives a protocol how to take every day. She knows when she takes this medication, when she makes this injection. She is informed. Even if she forgets, she can call and re-ask again and receive the necessary medication beforehand. Like she receives, for example, for 2 weeks or more. Then when it's coming to an end, she receives a bigger pack of fresh medication. So yeah, it is controlled, and we don't leave a surrogate mothers by themselves to buy some medication. They're fully supported in this case. So I think the last question for today is, if I want to make the cesarean section for my surrogate mother, is it real, or it should be done a prescription to do this? I understand what you mean. Some couples and some surrogates really ask for the cesarean section. Some surrogates think that it's more safe for them, but it's not like this. Cesarean can make more problems than a natural birth. But in our country, by the law, cesarean section can be done only according to serious medical indications, such as health problems during the pregnancy, or if the labors become seriously dangerous. So the doctor takes the decision to do a quick cesarean or something. Or there are a lot of indication. I will not talk about them right now because there are position of the baby just before the birth. It's a lot of indications here. And of course, we cannot give 100% that it's possible, and you cannot order it beforehand. So it's only the doctor that can decide if this C-section can be done in this case. Okay, so I see that we have 1.5 hour talk, and I want to say that I want to do more videos for you for special topics. Every topic will have will be opened in one special videos, and we will film more videos because I see and I receive reviews from our clients that it's really informative and interesting to hear about such like surrogacy questions from the video. So I hope to see you soon on our YouTube channel, and a like would be very good for us. Maybe comment, but if you don't want to comment and stay private, just mail me or Viber me or call me, and you will find my contacts and our contacts or on our website in the contacts place on our website, or you can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, but we're more active on Facebook. So thank you for all your questions, and I'm waiting for your emails and new clients to come to fulfill their dream to become parents. So bye bye, good luck, and thank you for everybody in our team who took part in this webinar today. A lot of people backstage. So thank you and have a nice weekend.